some of you guys may critique, saying, if that's the case, then we should learn all of the sarf, all of the chapters of sarf and nahu and bala, all of that. And that will be a valid point, by the way. So then the counter argument to that could be, well, the person who is studying usul, he should have the basics of the linguistic subjects already. Okay, but these are the extras on which we have got the most common disagreements, okay, among the scholars, mujtahids. Okay, so that's why these are mentioned. So each of these points are based on some certain historical, you can say, argument or disagreement or dispute between these different schools of thoughts and sects. Okay. So bayan, what do we know about bayan? So bayan in Arabic language, linguistically, literally, it means explicitity of something. Bayan, bayin, explicit, obvious, very open. Okay. So bayan in the linguistic subjects as well as usul, it means the way of the speaker expressing himself. Okay, so how am I? So for example, I'm saying that. So you say to me, okay, that I'm from Uzbekistan. Okay, so then I will say to you, because of that, I speak in Uzbeki language. Understand? So now you know that I am saying that I'm from Uzbekistan, okay, but not explicitly, but I'm confirming or I'm making my argument. So because you said that I'm from Uzbekistan, so then I say, because of that means I'm agreeing with you, I can speak in Uzbeki language. Do you understand? Okay, so I'm expressing, so I'm telling you that I'm from Uzbekistan, but indirectly. So on which way? What is the way which I'm using to tell you that I'm from Uzbekistan? Do you understand? So this is the subject about, this is the topic about, like I said. قال المصنف رحمه الله ونفعنا بعلومه وبركاته وبكم آمين. Sayyidi Bilal, today I'm a bit busy, so I can make it till 4 o'clock, okay, instead of half 4, because I have to go somewhere. So really sorry for that. So
that's fine, no worries.
Yeah, al-bayan, okay, so way of expressing, okay, al-bayanu ala sab'ati anwa'. So it is 7 different ways. Okay, so inshallah we're going to discuss each of them like separately. Bayan taqrir, okay, taqrir, obviously you guys know the meaning of, so it is tacit confirmation. Wa bayan tafsir, okay, so we're going to learn about all of that, don't worry. Wa bayan taghyir, wa bayan darura, wa bayan hal, wa bayan atf, wa bayan tabdil. Okay, so inshallah these are the ways of explaining. So أما الأول, the first one, فهو أن يكون معنى اللفظ ظاهرا لكنه يحتمل غيره. So the first one is actually, it's explicit, okay, but there is possibility of interpretation, possibility of that I'm meaning something else, even though it is quite explicit. فبين المراد بما هو الظاهر فيتقرر حكم الظاهر ببيانه. Okay, so I have made some statement, very explicit statement. Okay, so because of that explicit statement, okay, I am making some certain judgment also. مثاله, for example, إذا قال لفلان علي قفيز حنطة بقفيز البلد أو ألف من نقد البلد فإنه يكون بيان تقرير. Okay, so for example, someone says I owe, okay, لفلان علي, I owe that person قفيز حنطة. Okay, حنطة is flour, isn't it? Wheat flour. قفيز is just like a 1 liter or etc. So قفيز is just a container of measurement. And then I will say بقفيز البلد, okay, by the container of the city, which means that the common container of the city. Or I will say I owe him £1,000. Like it's a pounds in here means British pounds. So this is the بيان تقرير. لأن المطلق كان محمولا على قفيز البلد. Obviously, you know, in the previous example, I think what is in your copy? بقفيز okay. لأن المطلق كان محمولا على قفيز البلد ونقده مع احتمال إرادة الغير فإذا بين ذلك. Okay, so I don't think it's very accurate. Okay, so let me just explain this, and then I will explain what I think. Well, I will make my comment. So when he says, I owe him £1,000, okay, and in the example, Imam Shafi says British pounds, okay. So he says لأن المطلق. So when I say £1,000, so that automatically means British pounds because we're in Britain, okay. But then when I have explained British pounds, okay, so then it became taqrir. So I made reconfirmation. Okay, so that is actually that is the example of that. Obviously, it is incorrect, I would say. So just take that as like a literal explanation of usul shashi. Okay, but the correct one, in my understanding, it is without saying British pounds. Okay, so bayan taqrir is when I say I owe him £1,000. Okay, so this one actually it means explicitly it means British pounds, but there is possibility that I mean, for example, Pakistani pound or Egyptian pounds. Understand? That's how it should be. But when I say British pounds, so this it became bayan tafsir because I did explain what did I mean exactly by pounds. Understand? Imam Shashi is one of our top imams. Okay, so it's a bit strange. Okay, so I don't think it's from him. It's from his student most likely. That second guy, and third guy is also quite tough guy. So Shashi and third guy is just so the person in between is a bit like a student, you know, just average student, like Mufti Saab. I don't know. Okay, Saidi. وكذلك so also لو قال لفلان عندي 1000 وديعة فإن كلمة عندي كانت بإطلاقها تفيد الأمانة مع احتمال غير إرادة الغير فإذا قال وديعة فقد قرر حكم الظاهر ببيانه. I wish if I would compare it to my copy, you know, unfortunately I don't. So, and also if I say someone's car is in my house, okay, so when I say someone's car is in my house, so it means amana, okay, but on top of that, if I will say amanatan, so Imam Shashi, or the author says, the person here says, when I say amanatan, so that is taqrir, okay, but that is tafsir, isn't it? Let me see. Okay, just take it like that, okay? Just take it like that. We should come back to this point. I have to double check. Okay, so means when I say someone's car in my house, so actually that means it is amana. Okay, but when on top of that, when I say it is amana, so in here text says I made taqrir. Okay, I think I made tafsir actually, not taqrir. However, so that is the bayan taqrir. فصل وأما بيان التفسير. Okay, so based on that, the difference between بيان التقرير and بيان التفسير, it will be in بيان التقرير, I will be confirming what is explicitly understood. Okay, but in بيان التفسير, now we are going to learn, it will be that I'm explaining, okay, what was ambiguous, something which was not explicit but it was ambiguous. You understand? However, we'll have to come back to this point. So the next is فصل وأما بيان التفسير. So what is the بيان التفسير? فهو ما إذا كان اللفظ غير مكشوف المراد فكشفه ببيانه. So it is the meaning was not explicit, okay, but it was ambiguous. فكشفه ببيانه. So I have explained that by my clarification. مثاله, for example, إذا قال لفلان علي شيء ثم فسر الشيء بالثوب. For example, if I say I owe him something, but then I said 2 bottles of, let's say, vinegar. So something in here is ambiguous, but when I say 2 bottles of vinegar, so now it is tafsir. Okay. Okay, Sadie. And then أو قال علي 10 دراهم ونيجف. It's not nijaf, it should be nif. Okay, nif. Nif is between 1, so it is 1, 2 up to 3. And bid'a is bid'at ashara, so between 3 up to 9, isn't it? Yeah. So if I say I owe him a few pounds. Okay, few is ambiguous, and then I will say 3 pounds. Okay, so that is mufassar, or it is bayan tafsir. أو قال علي دراهم, or for example, I will say I owe him pounds. Okay, and then I will say 12 pounds. Yeah, so that is tafsir. وحكم هذين النوعين من البيان أن يصحح موصولا. It's not يصحح, أن يصح. Very damaged, very broken, not reliable copy, that I'm using now. So okay, so what do we do with this? So both of them are acceptable regardless. If you make the clarification, taqrir or tafsir, if you make it like in the same sentence, or if you make it in different sentence, okay, so both will be fine. Okay. وأما بيان التغيير فهو أن يتغير ببيانه معنى كلامه. So بيان التغيير, obviously تغيير means changing. Okay, I will make some statement, and then when I asked to clarify what I meant, okay, so my clarification changed. My clarification changed the explicit meaning of what I said before. ونظيره التعليق والاستثناء. Okay, for example, I will say you are divorced if you enter that house. Okay, so this is بيان التغيير. Why? Because when I say you are divorced, okay, so means now. But if I say if you do X, Y, Z, means I'm changing. So it's not now, but if it is if X, Y, Z. And also istithna. Okay, so if you enter any of these houses, you are divorced except the last one. Means you can enter the last one and they will not be. So it is istithna, because when I say you are divorced if you enter any of these houses, means all of them. But then when I say except the last one, means I'm changing the explicit meaning of what I say. وقد اختلف الفقهاء في الفصلين. So there is disagreement among the scholars in both of them, تعليق and استثناء. Okay, so فقال أصحابنا المعلق بالشرط سبب عند المعلق بالشرط عند وجود الشرط لا قبله. You know my copy is totally not. What is in your copy? فقال المعلق بالشرط سبب عند وجود الشرط لا قبله. Okay, so قال أصحابنا المعلق بالشرط سبب الحكم عند وجود الشرط لا قبله. That's how it should be. Okay, سبب الحكم عند وجود الشرط لا قبله. So according to our mashayikh, according to our mashayikh, so it is the same as, you know, it is, for example, if I say, if you enter that house, you are divorced, means we consider that I did not say anything. But as soon as she entered the house, we consider that I did pronounce the divorce then. Okay, but not before. وقال الشافعي رحمه الله التعليق سبب في الحال إلا إن عدم okay. وقال الشافعي التعليق سبب في الحال إلا أن عدم الشرط مانع من الحكم. That's how it is correct, yes. Okay, what's in my problem? مانع من الحكم. Sorry, just a moment. وقال الشافعي رحمه التعليق سبب الحكم في الحال إلا أن عدم الشرط مانع من الحكم. Okay, so well, according to Shafi'i, it's exactly the other way around. So it is that the sabab is already there. Okay, so the sabab of the hukum, which is divorce, is already there. Okay, but what is stopping the actual occurrence of the divorce? Because the condition is not yet met. Okay, well, fa'idatul khilaf. Okay, so what does it result in? So he says, so it results in the following: تظهر فيما إذا قال لأجنبية إن تزوجتك فأنت طالق. Okay, so if you say to someone who is not your wife, okay, so if I marry you, you are divorced. Okay, so now my question to you guys, okay, if any of you can answer me, can you divorce someone who is not under your isma, who is not your wife? Can you divorce? What do you guys say?
No, you won't be able to divorce someone in that situation.
Exactly, because the validity of the divorce is only, I mean, it is attached with the isma. So if she's not in your isma, so divorce is not valid. Okay, but so now, so when you say to someone who is not married to you, if you enter that house, you are divorced, and then you marry her. We say then she enters the house. There is no divorce by consensus. Okay, because you did issue divorce on someone who was not on your isma. Okay, but when you say to her, if I marry you, okay, if I marry you, then you are divorced. Okay, so now does this condition of divorce exist or not? According to Shafi'i, I mean, when you say you are divorced, does that exist or not? Shafi'i says yes, means divorce is not valid even after the marriage, because you did issue the divorce before the marriage when there was no isma. But according to the Hanafis, as you can see, if you say, if I marry you, then you are divorced. So now divorce does not exist. Okay, but as soon as you marry her, okay, then hukman, you will issue the divorce. Okay, so we consider that you did issue the divorce after the marriage. Okay, and after the marriage, she's in your under your isma, and then divorce will occur based on that reason. Understand? So that is the, I mean, the disagreement. Okay, so means the ta'liq mu'allaq. Okay, so the hukum which is mu'allaq by some condition, okay, it will come into the existence when a condition occurs, according to Hanafis. But according to Shafi'is, the hukum exists straight away, but its occurrence is blocked by non-existence of the condition. Okay, so that's what he's trying to say in here. Okay, Sina. Okay, so just go back. Let's go back to the text. وفائدة الخلاف. So the disagreement results in the following thing. تظهر فيما إذا قال لأجنبية إن تزوجتك فأنت طالق. If I marry you, then you're divorced. أو قال لعبد الغير, or you say to someone, to a slave who does not belong to you, so you will say إن ملكتك فأنت حر. As soon as I possess you, you are free. Okay, يكون التعليق باطلا عنده. So in both of the scenarios, this statement, this تعليق is not valid. Why? لأن حكم التعليق انعقاد صدر الكلام علة، والطلاق والعتاق ها هنا لم ينعقد علة لعدم إضافته إلى المحل، فبطل حكم التعليق فلا يصح التعسر, because the validity of what you have said in terms of divorce and the freedom, so that should be attached to the isma in terms of marriage and to the position. Okay, and it did not happen. It did not occur because she's not under isma and he is not under position. Okay, so your hukum was not valid in the right beginning. وعندنا, but according to us, كان التعليق صحيحا. So this تعليق is valid. Why? Because when you are saying your hukum does not exist right now, but it will come into the existence as soon as condition is met. Okay, and condition is going to be met when she will be under your isma, and divorce is valid then. Okay, yeah, so it's actually it's not Hanafi way of thinking. Okay, but what he's saying, it is our position, but not based on this. There is other reason. حتى لو تزوجها يقع الطلاق. According to us, when he marries her, they will be divorced. لأن كلامه إنما ينعقد علة عند وجود الشرط. Because according to us, his statement will come into the existence only when he will marry. والملك ثابت عند وجود الشرط فيصح التعليق. And then, the marriage, divorce, you can issue the divorce and to someone who is under your isma. Okay. ولهذا المعنى. So based on that, قلنا, we said شرط صحة التعليق للوقوع في صورة عدم الملك أن يكون مضافا إلى الملك وإلى سبب الملك. So because of that, we said the divorce will be only valid if it is attached to the isma, and not, for example, if I say, if you enter that house, you are divorced, okay, to this lady, and I'm not married to her, and then I will marry her, and then she enters that house. So so now it did occur, isn't it? So divorce, this hukum did occur, after the marriage, condition, so means it should be divorce. Okay, we say no, okay, because the divorce should be attached to the isma, okay, and not to any other condition. Okay, so that's the thing. Obviously, in here, Shafi'is have very valid counter argument to this. But anyway, you just try to understand it. حتى لو قال لأجنبية إن دخلت الدار فأنت طالق ثم تزوجها ووجد الشرط لا يقع الطلاق. So it's exactly as I said. So if you enter this house, then you divorce, and then you marry her, then she enters the house, there is no divorce. وكذلك طول الحرة يمنع جواز نكاح الأمة عنده لأن الكتاب علق نكاح الأمة بعدم الطول، فعند وجود الطول كان الشرط عدما. Okay, وعدم الشرط مانع من الحكم فلا يجوز. So based on that, do you remember Allah says ومن لم يستطع منكم طولا أن ينكح المؤمنات أن ينكح المحصنات المؤمنات فمما ملكت أيمانكم من فتياتكم المؤمنات. Okay, so in here Allah says any of you, okay, who cannot marry the muhsan mu'min ladies, in that case you should marry, or you should take the she slaves. Okay, so you should. So then based on that, based on the above principle, Imam Shafi'i says the condition of permissibility, okay, condition of permissibility of marrying the she slaves should be that you are unable to provide and to marry the free ladies. Okay, so because the hukum, okay, hukum exists straight away, okay, by this condition, okay, by this condition, and it validity of marrying, the um, uh, uh, she slaves conditioned, okay, by your inability of marrying the free ladies. Do you understand? Yeah, so it's again another thing which okay. وكذلك قال الشافعي لا نفقة للمبتوتة إلا إن كانت حاملا لأن الكتاب علق الإنفاق بالحمل لقوله تعالى وإن كن أولات أحمال فأنفقوا عليهن حتى يضعن حملهن. So as you know, there are two types of divorce, isn't it? So one is طلاق رجعي, okay, and the second is طلاق بائن. Okay, so in terms of طلاق رجعي, and there is no disagreement between us and Shafi'i that you have to maintain her. Okay, but the disagreement is about the ba'in talaq. Okay, so she is in your waiting period. Okay, she is in your waiting period. I mean, you divorced her, and now she's in the waiting period. So do you have to maintain her or not? Okay, so Abu Hanifa says yes, you have to, but Shafi'i says no. So Imam Shafi'i, according to this, he says, وإن كنا أولات حمل, Quran says, وإن كنا أولات حمل فأنفقوا عليهن حتى يضعن حملهن. So Quran says, if they are pregnant, so then maintain them until they give birth. Okay, and that is divorce. Okay, that is about divorce. فعند عدم الحمل كان الشرط عدما. So means if condition is not met, means the hukum is not there also. So if she's not pregnant, you don't have to maintain her also. Okay. وعدم الشرط مانع من الحكم عنده, and non-existence of the condition, which is the pregnancy, actually blocks, actually bans the hukum, which is maintaining. وعندنا لما لم يكن عدم الشرط مانعا من الحكم جاز أن يثبت الحكم بدليله. So, but according to us, because the condition non-existence of the condition does not block the hukum. Okay, so that's why it is very possible that the same hukum could be set up or could be established by some other reason, by other proof, by other text, for example. Okay. فيجوز نكاح الأمة ويجب الإنفاق بالعمومات. So that's why marrying, okay, marrying the she slave is permissible even if you are able to provide or to maintain or to marry the free ladies. Why? So he says بالعمومات, because of the general verses. Okay, وأحل لكم ما وراء ذلكم. So that verse means, so you know, only the mahrams mentioned. حرمت عليكم أمهاتكم وبنات. Do you remember the mahrams? And then after all of that, after counting all of them, Allah says, وَأُحِلَّ لَكُمْ مَا وَرَاءَ ذَلِكُمْ أَن تَبْتَغُوا بِأَمْوَالِكُمْ. So besides these categories, you can marry anyone, okay, as long as you provide, as long as you maintain, okay. So means, so condition, if you remember, according to Imam Shafi'i, so condition said that you can marry she slave only if you cannot, if you're unable to marry the free lady. But for us, condition does not stop the hukum. Okay, he's going to mention the example. So it's the same as to say John Smith did not die. Why? Because he was not shot. Okay, do you understand? So means the condition of the death of John Smith that he was not shot. Okay, well, maybe he did drown. Okay, or maybe he had cancer, according to us. So non-existence of the shart, according to us, does not mean that hukum is not there. Okay, hukum, which is death. Condition is being shot. So we say the hukum could be established by something else. For example, cancer. Understand? So the general verses would say that besides these categories, you can marry any category of women. Okay, so that proves that prove that you can marry she slave, okay, even if you can provide, if you can maintain the free ladies also, okay. And the same thing is also providing, okay, providing. We have general verses and the hadith in which husband is ordered to maintain, okay. So all of that will prove that husband has to provide as long as there is some type of connection, okay. And the mabtuta, the lady who, so by in divorce, she is still attached to you because she cannot marry anyone else until she completes your waiting period. Means even though she is not in your full isma, so but there is, she's still connected to you. Means you still have to provide by general texts. Yeah. So I would mention this, you know, in the not in the bayan, but I would say maybe, but not in the bayan. Okay. ومن توابع هذا النوع ترتب الحكم على الاسم الموصوف بصفة فإنه بمنزلة تعليق الحكم بذلك الوصف عنده. يا الله. And there is some other issue which is very close to the same one, which is معلق بالشرط. You know, for example, when you use the صفة means اسم فاعل, okay, or مفعول, or صفة مبالغة, or صيغة صفة مشبهة or صيغة مبالغة. So all of them are صفة. Okay, in the, so all of them, because all of them are all of them describe the person by some صفة, by some quality. For example, عالم. Understand? So it definitely means that person, but also describing, attaching, describing him by some quality. So it is صفة. Understand? So it is similar to the معلق بالشرط. Okay, why? Because when you say if you enter house, or you can marry she slave if you are unable to marry free lady. So it is conditioned with some condition, with some quality. It's the same as to say scholar. Give it to a scholar means do not give it to anyone unless you find someone with the knowledge. Understand? So sifa and ta'liq bishart quite similar. Okay, so that's what he's saying. So because of that, Imam Shafi'i, so he said that mu'allaq bishart and sifa are similar. Okay, so he said it is not, according to Shafi'i school, you cannot marry Ahl al-Kitab she slave. Why? Because Quran says فَمِنْ فَتَيَاتِكُمْ الْمُؤْمِنَاتِ. Okay, so the she slave, which is mu'mina, believer. Understand? So he says this is it's very similar to the condition. So if you are unable to marry free lady, then only you can marry slave. But plus, so that's one condition for you to marry she slave, and more than that, this she slave has to be believer. Okay, so according to you, so فلا يجوز نكاح الأمة الكتابية. According to Imam Shafi'i, you cannot marry non-Muslim she slave. But according to us, it is permissible. Why? Because do you know the general verses? وَأُحِلَّ لَكُمْ مَا وَرَاءَ ذَلِكُمْ أَن تَبْتَغُوا بِأَمْوَالِكُم. That's one. And also, وَالْمُحْصَنَاتُ مِنَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ. Obviously, there is disagreement in the meaning of muhsanat. Okay, some said muhsana means free. Okay, so there is matter of disagreement. However, that other verse, it is general and accepted. Okay, وَأُحِلَّ لَكُمْ مَا وَرَاءَ ذَلِكُمْ أَن تَبْتَغُوا بِأَمْوَالِكُم. ومن صور بيان التغيير الاستثناء. Okay, so the next one is, if you remember, معلق as well as استثناء. You remember? So استثناء, it is exemption. ذهب أصحابنا إلى أن الاستثناء تكلم بالباقي بعد الثنيا كأنه لم يتكلم إلا بما بقي. Okay. So there is disagreement. According to Shafi'i, okay, so it is making some judgment and removing group of some certain, just group out of that hukum. Okay, but according to us, it is that group was not included in the hukum from the beginning, but it is istithna means making the judgment on whatever is left over after istithna. وعنده صدر الكلام ينعقد علة لوجوب الكل إلا أن الاستثناء يمنعها من العمل بمنزلة عدم الشرط في باب التعريف. So according to Imam Shafi'i, it is generalizing the hukum. Okay. However, istithna protects or istithna prevents or bans the hukum to be implemented on certain group or certain part. So it is similar to the تعليق also. مثال هذا قوله عليه الصلاة والسلام لا تبيع الطعام بالطعام إلا سواء بالسواء. فعند الشافعي صدر الكلام انعقد علة لحرمة بيع الطعام بالطعام على الإطلاق، وخرج عن هذه الجملة صورة المساواة بالاستثناء، فبقي الباقي تحت حكم الصادر. ونتيجة هذا حرمة بيع الحفنة من الطعام بحفنتين منه. Obviously it is a bit like a fast thing, but anyway, so when Rasulullah said لا تبيع الطعام بالطعام إلا do not sell the wheat with the wheat unless if they are equal. So from both sides it is equal. Okay, so do not sell the wheat. Do not exchange the wheat for itself. That is hukum, finish. Okay, means all of that is prohibited. Then this exemption came. Okay, but what about according to Shafi'is? According to Hanafis, it means exchange by equality. You understand? By equality. So that is the interpretation of the statement of istithna. So based on that, can you exchange, for example, one like a do you know what do they call? You know, with both of your hands when you pick up hufna, that is hufna. So like a 2 palms full. Okay, what do you call hufna? So qabda is just one hand, like 1 palm, but hufna, how to translate hufna into English?
Scoop.
Scope. Okay, so 1 scope of wheat can you exchange by 2 scopes of wheat? According to Hanafis, yes, you can, but according to Shafi'is, no, you cannot. What's the proof of that, of Shafi'is? Because Rasulullah said, do not exchange it, okay, except if it is equal, okay? So means all of the exchange is prohibited, except if it is equal. But in here, there is no equality. It is because one is 1 scope and the second is 2 scopes. Understand? Okay, so this is very far, you know. However, according to Hanafis, that is not right, okay, because do you know anything lesser than half saw? Okay, half saw. What is the 1 saw? So 1 saw, if you remember, something about 4.5 kgs, wasn't it? Okay. So just go and double check. Okay, so so anything lesser than half saw is not classed. That is not classed as being measured according to the Shari'i mizan. Okay, so it means that the minimum Shari'i mizan is half saw. Okay, so any of the ahkam will be applicable on the minimum of half saw. Anything lesser than that, it's not consistent with the Shari'i measurement. Okay, so Shari'i like textual evidence cannot say if it is prohibited or permissible. Do you understand? So which means that the equality, okay, so the minimum measurement starts from half saw and above. Anything less than half saw is not, you cannot say if it is equal or if it is not equal from the Shari'i point of view. But from the like scientific, definitely it is like 1 scope is different to 2 scopes. It's not equal. Understand? But the Sharia measurement, it starts from half saw. Anything lesser than half saw, it's not. It does not fall under the measurement, Sharia measurement. Okay, so that is why this is not included into the text. Yeah. So because of the and also just keep in your mind, in here we have got disagreement. Okay, so as far as I know, either Imam Muhammad or Abu Yusuf disagrees in this issue. So he says one scope with two scopes is haram. Okay, so even within Hanafi school we have got this disagreement. وعندنا بيع الحفنة لا يدخل تحت النص. Okay, so but according to us, this exchanging, okay, so one scope is not included into this text because I did explain. Okay, so the textual Shari'i ahkam does not include anything which is lesser than half saw. يا الله. لأن المراد بالمنهي يتقيد بصورة بيع يتمكن العبد من إثبات التساوي والتفاضل فيه كي لا يؤدي إلى نهي العاجز، فما لا يدخل تحت المعيار المسوي or المسوى كان خارجا عن قضية الحديث. So because he says it will include, you know, the like measurement, you know, prohibition and orders. It will include if it is to do with the measurement. It will be referring to something which a person can measure. Okay, as but anything which is lesser than to be measured, so then it will be classed as ordering someone who is unable to do it. Okay, so it's the same as I will order you to fly. So I'm ordering you about something that you're unable to do. You understand? فما لا يدخل تحت المعيار. So anything, it should be a shara'i, you know. So anything does not fall under the shara'i measurement. كان خارجا. So all of that will be excluded from the hadith. Okay, so it is just another example. ومن صور بيان التغيير ما إذا قال لفلان علي 1000 وديعة. Okay, and also just another example of تغيير. So if I say to you, I owe someone £1,000, and then I will say it was wadi'a. Okay, so he left it before he went to Hajj, for example. So because when I say I owe him, explicit meaning it is like qard, but when I say wadi'a, it means amana. So it means I'm doing تغيير. فقوله علي يفيد الوجوب. So when I say I owe him, means it's necessary. وهو بقوله وديعة غيره إلى الحفظ. But when I say وديعة, so I did change its meaning. وقوله أعطيتني أو أسلفتني 1000 فلم أقبضها من جملة بيان التغيير. So it's the same as you gave me 1,000 as debt. Okay, so I borrowed from you 1,000. Okay, and then I will say to you, but I didn't get it. Okay, so because when I say I borrowed of you 1,000, it means I took from you. But when I say but I did not get it, so it is تغيير also. وكذا لو قال لفلان علي 1000 زيوف. And also if I say to you, I owe you 1,000 fake money. Okay, so because when I say 1,000 means it is normal money. It's not like a fake. Okay, but when I say fake means I do not owe you anything. Because fake money, okay, so unless it has got some other, for example, antiquity or it's so other value. Okay, so fake money does not have any value. Understand? So, but when I say I owe you 1,000 means valuable 1,000 pounds. Okay, but when I say zuyuf means I do not owe you anything. وحكم بيان التغيير. Okay, سيدي. حكم بيان التغيير. إنه يصح موصولا ولا يصح مفصولا. So this بيان تغيير is only valid if I make it in the same statement. Okay, but if I make it in different statement, okay, so now it is the same as I'm rejecting. Okay, so I'm saying that I did lie. Okay, so it's the same as I will say to you, I owe you £1,000. Okay, and next day I will say to you, by the way, that was fake money. Okay, so it will not be accepted. So you can sue me, and I owe you, actually, I will pay you 1,000 real money. Okay, but if I would make the same statement in the same go, saying I owe you 1,000 fake money in the same statement, it would be acceptable. Hey Allah. ثم بعد هذا مسائل اختلف فيها العلماء، إنها من جملة بيان التغيير فتصح بشرط الوصل، أو من جملة بيان التبديل فلا تصح. وسيأتي طرف منها في بيان التبديل. Obviously, we have بيان التبديل, okay, which is نسخ. Actually, inshallah, he's going to explain. So there is disagreement among the mashayikh in terms of classifying some certain examples under بيان التغيير or بيان التبديل, because some of the mashayikh said no, it is بيان التبديل, so it's not acceptable regardless if it is موصول or مفصول. Okay, but some said no, this scenario falls under بيان التغيير, so it will be accepted if it is in the same go. Okay, so he says وسيأتي طرف منها في بيان التبديل. Some of the examples will come in the بيان التبديل. Okay, سيدي. بيان الضرورة وبيان الحال. فصل وأما بيان الضرورة. So what is the بيان الضرورة? So he says فمثاله في قوله تعالى وورثه أبواه فلأمه الثلث. Okay, so for example, I will say to you, okay, we are making business, okay, we both will work, okay, and the profit we will share between us, and I will get quarter. Okay, so how much does how much are you going to get?
It's 1/4, 3/4.
Excellent, exactly. But how did you know? I didn't say that. I said that I'm getting 1/4. How do you know that you will get 3/4? How did you understand it?
Because as soon as you say 1/4, it means whatever's left over is
exactly.
for me.
So we call that darura, daruratan, because in the beginning I said we'll make a business, okay, and then whatever is left over, I mean, whatever profit we make between us, and I get quarter, means daruratan. You understood that 3/4 are yours. So that is, we call it bayan darura. Okay, so he says, mithaluhu, for example, Allah says, وَوَرِثَهُ أَبَوَاهُ فَلِأُمِّهِ الثُّلُث. Okay, so someone dies, okay, and there is no one to inherit him except his parents, father and mother. Quran says, فَلِأُمِّهِ الثُّلُث. So mother gets 1/3. But what about the father? How much his father will get? What do you think?
It will be 2/3 because
exactly.
The share of the mother is
exactly. That's it. Yeah. So awjaba. So this verse necessitates that whatever is left, it will be for his parents. Okay. ثم بين نصيب الأم. So then text explained what is the share of the mother, means the same verse is implicitly explaining the share of the father also, which is 2/3. وعلى هذا قلنا. So based on that we said إذا بينا نصيب المضارب or بينا نصيب المضارب بينا وسكت عن نصيب رب المال صحة الشركة. So based on that we said that investor, so I'm the investor and you are the person who is working, so I will invest my money in your business. Okay, so I will say, okay, so here is £1,000, okay, and you will be working, you will be trading, okay, you get 1/10. Okay, so is this investment valid or not? Because if you remember, one of the conditions of the validity of the mudaraba, that the shares should be very explained, because ambiguity will lead to the conflict, isn't it? And any ambiguity which leads to the conflict invalidates the transaction. in here we say there is no ambiguity, but there is bayan, okay, explicitly. But what type of bayan? We say darura, because when I say it, you get 10th means everything else belongs to me. وعلى هذا حكم المزارعة. Okay, and based on the same thing, we said the muzara. Muzara, if you remember, so for example, I will bring so there is land and farmer, okay, and seeds, okay, and working, okay, and so that is muzara. And then we explain the share of, for example, the person owner of the land. But what about the farmer? Okay, we did not explain. So we say it is still valid because whatever is left from my share belongs to him. So it is no ambiguity in that. وكذلك لو أوصى لفلان وفلان ب1000 ثم بين نصيب أحدهما كان ذلك بيانا لنصيب الآخر. And also if I write a will, okay, for 1000, and then I did for 2 people, and then I did explain the share of only one of them, but did not explain the second. So we say, so that is actual explanation. ولو طلق إحدى امرأتيه ثم وطئ إحداهما كان ذلك بيانا للطلاق في الأخرى. Okay, so if someone has 2 wives, yeah, and then he says one of you are divorced, okay, and then he has sexual intercourse with one of them, okay, so that's bayan al-darura, means this, the divorce is applicable on the second one. بخلاف الوطء في العتق المبهم عند أبي حنيفة, but Abu Hanifa for some reason does not implement the same principle in the if it is about freedom. Okay, so he has 2 she slaves, and then he says one of you are free, okay, and then he has sexual intercourse with one of them, so he says it does not explain that the other is free. Okay, لأن why لأن حل الوطء في الإماء يثبت بطريقين. Okay, because the permissibility of having sexual intercourse with regards to the she slaves, so that's applicable. I mean, valid is by 2 things, okay, like a marriage, as well as possession. Okay, so that's why he did disregard, because this is a bit strange issue. However, Allah. بيان الحال. بيان الحال. بيان الحال. Okay, so he's going to give us explanation the circumstance in which you are. Yeah, so بيان العطف is a bit like lengthy. Okay, so بيان الحال. So bayan al-hal is, for example, do you know, like Rasulullah seeing something, okay, people doing and not forbidding them. Okay, why? Because the circumstance is that Rasulullah is sent to explain what's permissible and what's not permissible. So him not saying it is not permissible means it is permissible. Okay, so that is bayanul hal. Okay, and or another thing he's going to explain. So for example, virgin lady. Okay, so the father says, I want to marry you off to that person, and she does not respond. Okay, or she smiles. Okay, so we say the circumstance, the condition in which we are actually, that's bayan al-hal, means she's agreeing. Okay, so that is bayan al-hal. So he says, وأما بيان الحال فمثاله فيما إذا رأى صاحب الشرع أمرا معاينة فلم ينهى عن ذلك كان سكوته بمنزلة البيان أنه مشروع. So for example, صاحب الشرع, it's metaphor actually in here, owner of the constitution. Okay, so as you know, we believe that the owner of the constitution is God. So it's metaphor. So sees something, okay, performed in front of him, but then he does not stop. So his silence is taken as bayan, that it is permissible. والشفيع, and also, do you know shafa, do you know like a shafi'a, do you know like a claiming the right of buying the land. إذا علم بالبيع, so when you find out that your neighbor has sold the land and you are silent, you did not react to it, كان ذلك بمنزلة البيان بأنه راض بذلك. So we will take it as you are agreeing with it. والبكر, and also the virgin lady, إذا علمت بتزويج الولي وسكتت عن الرد كان ذلك بمنزلة البيان بالرضا والإذن. So if she finds out that her guardian has married her off and then she does not respond, she just stays silent, we said that it means that she's agreeing. Okay. والمولى إذا رأى عبده يبيع ويشتري في السوق فسكت كان ذلك بمنزلة الإذن فيصير مأذونا في التجارة. If you remember, we have this category of slaves, we call them مأذون. Okay, so the إذن, if you remember, will be established either explicitly by saying, yes, I am accepting, or I am letting you to trade, okay, or implicitly, which is bayanul hal. So for example, you see your slave trading, buying and selling, okay, and you as a master, you do not ask him what are you doing, okay, so it means you're agreeing, so that slave will be ma'zun. والمدعى عليه إذا نكل في مجلس القضاء يكون الامتناع بمنزلة الرضا بلزوم المال بطريق الإقرار عندهما أو بطريق البذل عند أبي حنيفة رحمه الله. It's a bit like tricky مسألة. So let's suppose that I chase you up. In the court, and I say that you owe me 10,000 pounds. Obviously, I'm claimant, I have to prove. If I will be unable to prove, then you have to take oath. So if you refuse to take oath, so according to Sahibain, you are indirectly admitting that you owe me the money, okay, which is bayanul hal. But that is according to Sahibain, okay. But according to Abu Hanifa, it is just badal. Badal means you are not admitting, okay. But you know, noble people, okay, they don't want to engage into the conflicts. They rather pay the money, you know, okay, because that is the position of Abu Hanifa. So according to Abu Hanifa, giving away money does not mean that you are admitting that you are guilty, okay, but you are just protecting your face from this type of conflicts. فالحاصل, so the conclusion. إن السكوت في موضع الحاجة إلى البيان بمنزلة البيان. So the silence, okay, in the places, in the circumstance in which you have to explain, you have to express yourself, so your silence is classed as expression, okay, so you're expressing yourself. وبهذا الطريق قلنا, so based on this we said الإجماع ينعقد بنص البعض وسكوت الباقي. So based on this, we said that the consensus, do you know the concept of consensus? The consensus can be established by a group of people, group of scholars, explicitly stating that it is haram, and the rest of the scholars keeping silent. Why? Because it was their duty, you know, the rest of the scholars, to clarify. So if they would not agree, so they had to say that they're not agreeing. But because they did not say means they're agreeing to it. Okay, so based on that. So that is just another thing. Inshallah, we'll talk about it in the chapter of Ijma. Okay, however, in Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, it is classed as one of the valid Ijmas. Okay, so if group of scholars, okay, they were able to object if they would not agree, but they did not object. So means they did agree. Okay. Okay, so Sally, I think we're going to stop here, if you don't mind. And so,
Okay, that's fine.
yeah, so I think, you know, the entire chapter of narrations, we can do next week, but we're going to have like a long session, just one long session. We'll just finish off, you know, this bayan al-atf and bayan al-tabdil. Okay, and you know, the chapter of the mustalah, Hanafi mustalah, we can do next week, all of that in one go. Very easy, you know.
Inshallah.
So lengthy, bit longer session. Or shall we do this atf also? What do you think? Atf and tabdil.
Next week, sorry.
I don't mind because
So yeah, so if we can have, like you said, a long session, and then we can finish it up to the narration as well.
yeah. So next week we can just finish off the, you know, the mustalah, but then
Yes.
there will be ijma and qiyas. Obviously,
Okay.
each of ijma. Can we do the ijma in one day? I think we can. No, I think ijma is going to be 2 days, and qiyas, yeah, qiyas in also 2 days.
So another 5 sessions, inshallah, we should be done then.
Yeah. Yeah, 6. I would say 6 sessions, inshallah, will be done.
Yeah.
Or 5 long ones, inshallah.
Okay.
No, look, Sadi, let's. I think it's quite lengthy. Let's just finish off all of the bayans today. I think it's going to be quite lengthy. Okay, the next is fasl wa amma bayan al-atf. Okay, so bayan al-atf. For example, let's suppose that so atf in Arabic language, as you know, like you know, in Nahu, it's like attaching something to another thing. Okay, I and my friend came. So this is atf. I'm attaching myself to my friend. Okay, so it is in the usuli term. In the usuli term, it is the clarification or explanation of something like measurements. Inshallah, he's going to give us example. So it's the same as I bought 10 kgs of barley and 10 of wheat. So what is this 10? Is it 10 pieces of wheat? It is again kgs, but how do I know? We say it is bayan al-atf, okay? Because in terms of barley, I say 10 kgs of wheat, okay, or barley, and 10 of these. So instead of saying 10 kgs of this, I just left it to you to understand, because I already said 10 kgs of wheat and 3 of XYZ. So 3 kgs of XYZ. So that is bayan al-atf. Okay, so he says فصل وأما بيان العطف فمثل أن تعطف مكيلا أو موزونا على جملة مجملة يكون ذلك بيانا للجملة المجملة. So it is the same as you attach some certain measurements, kgs or liters, to another ambiguous number. But what is that? Is it kg or is it? So that kg which you mentioned, okay, will explain the other ambiguous, you can say, word. Okay, for example, إذا قال لفلان علي 100 ودرهم. Okay, so you will say, I owe him 101 pound. Okay, or 101 golden coins. So, and 1 golden coin will explain what is this 100. 100 is also golden coins. كان العطف بمنزلة البيان أن الكل من مثل ذلك الجنس. Okay, so it's the same as, you know, that you know, these golden coins, this word, okay, because you did attach it by saying and Okay, so this atf will clarify that previous ambiguous word is also of the same type, which is golden coins. وكذا لو قال 103 أثواب. Okay, so if on the same, if I say, for example, 103 shoes. Okay, 103 pairs of shoes. So what is this 100? Okay, so it is pairs of shoes also. But how do I know? Because bayan al-atf. I did atf, which is and then explain 3 pairs of shoes. Okay, so that is bayan al-atf. Hey Allah. فإنه بيان أن 100 من ذلك الجسم بمنزلة قوله 21 درهم. So it's same as to say 21 pounds. Okay, so بخلاف قوله 100 وثوب أو 100 وشاة حيث لا يكون ذلك بيانا للمئة. So but it is not similar to the following example, in which, for example, I say I owe him 101 sheep. Okay, so obviously it does not work in English because 101 sheep. Okay, so does it mean that all of 100 is also sheep linguistically? It's my question to you guys. So if I say I owe him 101 sheep. So sheep, do you know this 100? Does it mean that that is also sheep also or not in English?
Yeah, I think in English it would be.
Yeah, so means it does not work in English, but in Arabic. So if I would say mi'a washat, okay, I owe him 100 and sheep. So I need to clarify what is that 100. Okay, just by saying and a sheep, it does not explain that all of that 100 was. So it's just linguistic thing, you know. So you guys, the most important thing, if you understood the concept of bayanul atf, okay, so and then you can make your mind up in terms of your own language, when it works and when it does not work. واختص ذلك في عطف الواحد بما يصلح دينا في الذمة كالمكيل والموت. So he says, but in terms of the Arabic language and in terms of the Shari'i Arabic language, it will be only acceptable if it is to do by measurable things. Okay, Shari'i measurement, and as you know, Shari'i measurement is only kgs and liters. So it means bayan al-atf. Okay, it works only in the Shari'i measurable things. Okay, and in others it does not work. Anyway, وقال أبو يوسف رحمه الله يكون بيانا في 100 وشاة و100 وثوب على هذا. But according to Abu Yusuf, even in non-measurable things, do you know that sheep thing? Even on that, bayan al-atf is still workable. Okay, so it means disagreement is between Abu Yusuf and Imam Muhammad. Okay, so that's the disagreement. على هذا الأصل. Okay, and then he says وأما بيان التبديل. So what is بيان التبديل? So بيان التبديل is in 2 words, obligation, نسخ. Okay, because you are replacing. Okay, so you are replacing the previous statement with a new one, previous judgment with a new one. So he says فيجوز ذلك من صاحب الشرع ولا يجوز ذلك من العباد. Means بيان التبديل is only permissible based on textual evidence. Means ijtihad does not work in here. So if it is Quran or Hadith, so only that can make obligation of one another. Okay, but ijtihad cannot obligate, or ijma or qiyas cannot obligate the textual evidence. وعلى هذا بطل استثناء الكل عن الكل لأنه نسخ الحكم. So because of that, the exemption of everything is not permissible. So for example, you will say, I owe you, for example, 100 pounds. But then you say, except 100 pounds. Okay. Or for example, in your hand, you have 2 apples. You will say, all of these, which is in my hand, belongs to you, except 2 apples. But in your hand, only 2 apples. So we say that exemption is not acceptable. And if you would chase me up, okay, take me to court. So the Shari'i court would say that I have to give you 2 apples because I made exemption of everything. And exemption of everything is tabdil. And tabdil is only permissible based on textual evidence. Okay. ولا يجوز الرجوع عن الإقرار والطلاق والعتاق لأنه نسخ وليس للعبد ذاك. And also you cannot take back your divorce, and if you free your slave, and also if you confess. So you cannot refrain from your confession from these three, because that is nasakh. So it's the same as you say, I'm divorcing you, and then later you say, actually, I did not divorce you. Now you cannot take back that. So divorce did happen. Now you are doing tabdil. Tabdil, you are not in power to make tabdil, but it should be based on textual evidence. ولو قال لفلان علي ألف قرضا أو ثمن المبيع وقال هي زيوف وهي زيوف كان ذلك ببيان التغيير عندهما. So now my question to you guys, it's my genuine question to you guys. So if I say to you, I owe you 1,000 pounds, and that is as a fee for the car that I bought from you. But this 1,000 pounds, it is fake 1,000 pounds. So what do you think? Is it taghyir or is it tabdil? You know the difference between taghyir and tabdil. So tabdil means I don't owe you anything. But taghyir means I am owing you, but not on the way that you thought. So is it taghyir or tabdil?
تغيير.
I think it'd be a tabdil.
So for example, that 1,000 means I will just pick up a paper and then I will just write 1,000 pounds. So that is actually what I'm saying, you know. You say it's tabdil.
I think it's tabdil, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what he says. Now we have got disagreement on this issue. So he says كان ذلك بيان التغيير عندهما كنت صاحبين. It is بيان التغيير. So it is valid but موصولا if you make it in the same go. Okay. وهو بيان التبديل عند أبي حنيفة فلا يصح وإن وصل. But it is according to Abu Hanif, it is تبديل. So it's not valid regardless if you make this statement in one go. Okay. ولو قال لفلان علي ألف من ثمن جارية باعنيها ولم أقبضها والجارية لا أثر لها كان ذلك بيان التبديل عند أبي حنيفة رحمه الله لأن الإقرار بلزوم الثمن إقرار بالقبض عند هلاك المبيع إذ لو هلك قبل القبض ينفسخ البيع فلا يبقى الثمن لازما. So he says, I owe you, this is the example, I owe you 1,000 pounds, okay, as the fee of that she slave, but I did not get that she slave and I don't know where is she. Okay, so what exactly is happening? So am I just making tabdil or what's happening? So he says, according to Abu Hanifa, it is tabdil. Why? Because when I say I owe you, okay, I owe you means that's it. But if later I say I did not get that she's left and I don't know what happened, so it means I'm claiming that before getting her, okay, she died, for example, or damage happened. Do you understand? So means I'm saying I owe you, but I don't owe you, because if before qabd, before getting the product, you know, the sold item, if halak happens, I don't owe you anything. So the transaction is nullified, means I don't owe you, but I already said I owe you 1,000. You understand? Means it's the same as to say I owe you 1,000, but actually I don't owe you 1,000. So it is like tabdil according to Abu Hanif. So he says, so means it is bayan tabdil. Okay, so it was exactly on time. Okay, guys, so that much should be enough. Okay, inshallah, next week, most likely we will have a bit lengthy, something about not 2 hours, but 2.5 or 3 hours. But hopefully, inshallah, we'll just finish off the chapter of Mustalah. Okay, so the Hanafi Mustalah, inshallah. Okay, guys, thank you very much. We'll see you next week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.